There it is, amigos. Sunset story time. Sunset story time. Sunset story time. Yep, sunset story time. And today's sunset story time is brought to you by Coca-Cola con Cafe. It's not really brought to you by it, but I'm going to have it. It's a little. I think I have had it. But I'm looking forward to it. Something about ice. I gotta have ice. I mean, I don't drink Guinness anymore. This looks like it's as close to a Guinness as Clint Arthur's gonna get. Yep. Sunset story time. I guess we'll let that sit there for a while. Go back to this. And then we will do that. All right, everybody. It's time for the sunset story. And today's story, I tell you, you got one mother, right? You got one mother. Everybody starts out with one mother. We don't all have a mother, but everybody starts out with a mother, right? And, we get what we get from those mothers. And one time, way back in the beginning of my whole expert career, I took my mother to a James Malinchak seminar. And there was this young speaker at the James Malinchak seminar, and everybody loved this young speaker. His name was Jonathan Sprinkles. And, he's what everybody wants to be, Jonathan Sprinkles. He's up there, he's funny, he's cool, he's making everybody laugh, he's smart, and he's up on James Malinchak's stage. And he has an offer at the end of his speech, and he says, this is I think he called it, now tell me if I'm wrong, Jonathan, I think he called it, he must be crazy offer, something like that. This was the he must be crazy offer, because the offer was, it was $1,000. Yeah, it was $1,000 for 2 tickets to come to his live event. This brother must be crazy offer. Yeah, this brother must be crazy offer. It was $1,000 to come to the event, or it was 3 payments of $299, something like that. And I said to my mom, hey, if I get us tickets to go to that event in Houston in January, would you want to go? And she goes, yeah, that would be fun. Now, this is way back in the beginning of my whole adventure. I was trying desperately to earn my platinum status with Starwood, SPG, in those days. And Jonathan Sprinkles had his event, I think it was at the Icon Hotel in Houston, but I didn't stay there. I stayed at 2 different Starwood hotels. I made my mother pack up her stuff and check out. This was way, way in the beginning, so I could get that extra stay. They were really working you. You had to have a certain number of stays in order to earn platinum. Then we go to Jonathan Sprinkles' event. It was called Connection. I don't know. It was like Jonathan Jonathan Sprinkle's event in Houston. And I'll tell you what, I did a really smart thing at that event. He had an offer to upgrade to get your headshot taken. He had a headshot photographer taking photos there. Presentation power, that's right. He had a headshot photographer taking photos there. And I paid $200 to get my headshot there. And I'll tell you what, I am still using that headshot. I'll tell you what, one of the smartest things you can do as an entrepreneur is invest money in headshots until you get great ones. Because a great headshot, man, will make you money for a long time. If you look at, the Clint Arthur page on Facebook, if you look on my YouTube channel, I think in my Instagram, you will see my profile photo is still that same photo that guy took at Jonathan Sprinkle's event with my head cocked on an angle, kind of. Okay? So we go, this is a clear example of how important it is for any entrepreneur to be what I call a VIP speaker. This is a speaker who, being a speaker at any event is good, but if you could be a speaker who's a VIP speaker, somebody who's positioned as a VIP speaker, you get up at a very important place and you get in front of the audience on the stage and you get to share your message, man, you can really do some damage. And, the whole psychology, and I'm so glad you're on here, Jonathan, the whole psychology of this whole thing and how Jonathan Sprinkles took me, a cold prospect, from just somebody who never heard of him before, all the way to a $10,000 client, okay? All the way to a $10,000 client in just 2 days, essentially, right? It's really incredible. So my mom meets me in Houston and we check into our first hotel and we go to day one of Presentation Power. And then I'm not sure if he makes the offer at the end of the first day or if he makes the offer at the end of the second day. I'm not really sure. At some point, Jonathan Sprinkles tells us about his platinum coaching group and how he is going to, for only $10,000, you get to be a platinum coaching member. And that includes a whole day with him as a VIP coaching day. And my mother, we're watching this whole thing, right? And my mother leans over to me and she goes, "Hey, do you think that he would let us split the platinum coaching membership and then we could share that VIP day together and then we could split the cost of the whole investment? And I could take the money out of my retirement IRA account and we could split it." And I'm like, I don't know, I'll ask him. So I go over to Jonathan Sprinkles on the break and I go up to him and I go, "Hey, Jonathan, my mom and I were wondering if we could share a platinum membership and then we could share that VIP day with you." And he goes, "Well, Clint, I ain't in the business of telling people who want to give me $10,000 that they can't do it." That's what he said. "I ain't in the business of saying no to people who want to give me $10,000. That's what he says. Jonathan Sprinkles says, "I ain't in the business of saying no to people who want to give me $10,000. All right. Now look what happened there. The guy, he never met us before, right? He sells me the this brother must be crazy offer, where it costs less to go on payments than it does as a single pay. Irresistible offer. Then I go there and he shows us a good time. He shows a good quality event. He makes an offer and my mom and I just, make him a counter offer and he accepts it. And I start making the payments. Now, God bless her heart. I don't know if you know this, Jonathan. My mother made a grand total of one installment on that. I ended up paying God bless her. I just felt bad about making her take the money out of her retirement account. I ended up paying for the whole thing. And you know what? It was worth every penny. Because like a month or 6 weeks later, my mom and I go back to Houston again. Man, I was spending a lot of time in Houston in those days. And we check into another Starwood hotel, and I'm racking up these hotel stays. And Jonathan, oh, we had to rent a car. What do we do? I don't know how it is. We go to, like, maybe we took a cab and we go to Jonathan's condo and we do our VIP day and in like the recreation room of his condo. He lives in a nice condo. It was really nice. Now, this is the part that really had the huge impact on me. He goes, all right, Clint, so a couple things had a huge impact on me. He goes, all right, Clint, so what's your story? And I tell him, I go, well, what do you mean? And he goes, what is the thing, the experience that changed your life? And I go, well, that was when the shaman said to me at the campfire, you don't know it yet, but you're already dead, right? He goes, yeah. He goes, so tell me that story. Now, in those days, I was still always wearing suits and ties. I'm in Acapulco today, so I'm not wearing a suit and tie. But normally, maybe I can have a drink of my Coca-Cola with some coffee. Refrescante. Yeah, I like it. Refrescante. Coca-Cola con café. Yeah. So I'm there in my gray suit, Armani suit, and a blue shirt and a paisley tie. I hadn't even learned about what was a good tie and what was not a good tie yet. I still didn't know anything in those days. And yeah, and I go first telling my story. And he goes, all right, now first of all, Clint, you got to take your hands out of your pockets. And let me tell you about that. I got in this terrible habit of putting my hands in my pockets. Where did I get that? There was this guy named Jeff Walker. Jeff Walker was a big guru. He was a VIP speaker at the first Experts Academy that I went to with Brendan Burchard. And Jeff Walker was kind of like me. He wore a gray suit and he had a blue button-down Oxford shirt. I don't think he was wearing a tie. And the whole entire time that Jeff Walker was on stage at Brendan Burchard's event speaking, he had his hands in his pocket and he's like playing with his change. And for some stupid reason, I picked up that habit. And Jonathan's like, you got to get your hands out of your pockets when you talk. You got to have your hands free. Now, today, in my life today, if I ever see a speaker in any photos on their website and they have their hand in their pocket, then I know that they're a fraud. I know that they know nothing, that they're a wannabe. Because celebrities have their hands out of their pockets. Celebrities are doing stuff with their hands. And he goes, all right, Clint, now tell me the whole story. And I go, well, when I was 14 years old, I made up my mind that I wanted to go to the Wharton Business School because I read about it in a book. And I climbed to, and I looked in the encyclopedia, and in the W book of the encyclopedia was a real thing. And Jonathan goes, wait, you got to say that you climbed all the way to the top of the bookshelf and that like the encyclopedia was like Google, but with books. And then you pulled down the W encyclopedia and there it was, the real thing. Like he dramatized a lot of my talk. And he also told me this crazy new concept, which I use all the time now, which is called an act out. He goes, you got to act it out. And it would be years before I would start doing act outs in my own speaking. But he was the first person to ever tell me to do it. And then I told him about going to the campfire. And he told me that at the campfire, you have to look across the yellow and orange crackling flames to make it more visual. And then embody the shaman with his crooked fingers and his voice. You don't know it yet, but you're already dead. And I'm like, what are you talking about, man? I'm the most successful guy on this team. 8 years ago, I was driving a taxi. Now I'm a millionaire. I was living on a little boat. Now I live in a mansion. You're already dead. You just don't know it. Now, beyond the acting techniques that he got me starting, it was really that one question that was more powerful than anything. When he goes, what was the thing that changed your life? What happened to you? What event? Who said what? What happened that changed you? Because it was that idea, you're already dead, you just don't know it. That's what really transformed me and got me out of my procrastination and doubt and got me to start living like it was going to be the last year of my life. And ever since then, that's been my superpower. When I was on the Today Show with Brooke Shields and Willie Geist, they said, you know, Clint, you ask yourself a great question every year. What's that question? And I said, ask yourself, if this was going to be the last year of your life, what would you want to accomplish? That's been my superpower. That's helped me to achieve so much. And that question took me all the way to the frickin' Today Show. Now, one other great thing that came out of that coaching session was that, wow, this sunset is freaking beautiful, was that Jonathan created the Alive formula for me. A, awareness that this could be the last year of your life. L, let go of your past mistakes. Don't beat yourself up. I, inspire yourself with great goals and dreams. And V, visualize how to make them happen. And E, energize yourself with three-dimensional energy, good food, good rest, exercise, and my favorite kind of energy, which is listening to great quotes. Like my favorite quote from General George S. Patton, the man who kept the free world free during World War II. Accept the challenges so that you can feel the exhilaration of victory, and that's how you come alive. Jonathan created that for me. And I'll tell you what, when you get a great formula from a coach or a mentor, I'm telling you, man, you can ride that formula. Everybody's always thinking they got to come up with new stuff. Wrong. As my great mentor, Arnold Copelson, would say, you would happen to be wrong. You don't got to keep coming up with new stuff. You got to come up with new audiences. You got to come up with new performances. You don't need new material. You need new audiences and new performances. Especially beginning speakers, beginning TV celebrities. They want new stuff, new segments. They want to change stuff. And no matter how many times I tell them, you don't need to change it. You need to just change the hook. You need to rejigger it, but keep doing the same stuff. And I've been using that Alive formula, not just on television, but teaching people. I use it in every celebrity launch pad. I teach people with the Alive formula. And I said to Jonathan, can I really tell that story? I mean, what does that really have to do with, what does that have to do with anything? I mean, how does that relate? He goes, you have to tell your story, Clint. That's your story. You have to tell it. And it took me years to understand every single speaker. You know what they do when they go and speak? And people like, this is where my whole thing about being a VIP speaker and speaking at very important places comes from. It's like, you hear that Clint Arthur spoke at NASDAQ, or Clint Arthur spoke at West Point, or Mercedes, or the Harvard Faculty Club, and you're thinking, wow, I wonder what he said. I'll tell you what he said. He told his story. That's what I do every time. That's what every speaker does. What else could a speaker do besides tell their story? If they don't tell their story, they're an idiot. They don't know how to be a speaker. The thing that makes you a unique speaker is your unique story. That's what you got. And when I said, Jonathan, can I really tell that story? He goes, you have to tell that story. That's your story. Oh, man, oh, man, oh, man. I'll tell you what, in those days, $10,000 was a lot of money to me. And I remember I had to make 12 of those $860 payments, something like that. And I'll tell you what, when that last $800 and something payment went through, I was freaking happy. Because that was a lot of money for me. In these days, and today, and what I've become as a result of investing in mentors like Jonathan Sprinkles and Dan Kennedy and all the ones in my book. You want to see who all my mentors are? Look at the speaking game, okay? I had a client come to one of my VIP speaker trainings in Dallas a couple weeks ago, and he brought his copy of the speaking game with him, and he's like, man, I can't, like, it was dog-eared. He folded down all the pages, and I'm like, what did you think about all those mentors that I put? He goes, wow. See, there was a big part of me that I didn't even want to put in the mentors, because basically I'm like giving you all the people that helped me to become what I am. And a lot of people, well, not a lot of people. Some people who are like me would go track them down and start following them and going to their stuff. Most people are too lazy to do that. So that's why it's so good to invest in my stuff, because I synthesize all the stuff that these people have taught me. I synthesize all the nuggets and knowledge that I've learned from all these people. And if you're really smart, you'll just do everything with me and pick up all the finest points that I've learned from Jonathan Sprinkles and Sean Stevenson, who I talked about the other day, and Dan Kennedy and Tony Robbins and all the people. But that was my first platinum coaching experience, and that was my first speaking mentor. And I'll never forget when he goes, so tell me, Clint, where do you speak? And I said, he took us to lunch. That's right, he took us to lunch. We went to some restaurant. He took us in his BMW and drove us there. And he goes, where do you speak? And I said, well, mostly I speak on television. And he goes, well, that's a good place to speak. I didn't even think I was a speaker. I didn't even know I was a speaker. I saw speakers as people who went on stages and sold. That's what I wanted to do, because it seemed like a good way to make money, which it is. It's a fantastic way to make money. It's really the only way to make money that I know of. As a speaker, you get on a stage, you make an offer, and you sell. I go, well, I mostly speak on TV. He goes, that's a good place to speak. And you know what? It's very fascinating. Being a speaker on TV is a good place to speak, but you don't make money from being on TV. You make money because you were on TV. And it took me a long time to figure that out. And I said to Jonathan, can you help me to guide me to make money with this? And he goes, you'll figure it out, Clint. You'll figure it out. It took me a long time to figure it out. Let's see. That was in 2000. That was the beginning of 2011. I started selling my first TV training program, the new TV Power publicity training program, in October of that year, later that year. And, I didn't make a lot of money from selling a product. You don't make a lot of money from selling a product. You make a lot of money from coaching and consulting. And it took me one more year before I started offering a coaching program online. And that was a $2,000 online coaching program, which I'm actually bringing back now. You'll start seeing offers for my new TV Power and Instant Local Celebrity coaching programs online, because I got a lot of students right now who are booking themselves on Skype interviews on TV news and talk shows. TV, if you haven't noticed, TV is more powerful than ever. And I got a lot of people who are getting on a lot of TV shows without even leaving home. This one girl I got now, her name is Danny DeNovo. She just booked her 13th television appearance, and she hasn't even come to my high-end $10,000 celebrity launchpad yet. She'll be coming in May. And I fully expect she's going to set the new record for the most number of booked appearances before coming to Celebrity Launchpad. So he goes, tell me where you speak. And I go, I speak on TV. He goes, that's a good place to speak. And he was right, he said, you'll figure it out. He said, you're a smart guy, Clint. You will figure out how to make money as a speaker. And it really took me about another 2 years before I started making money as a speaker, when I really put everything on the line. And I created my Celebrity Launchpad, where I brought in all of my contacts who were TV news and talk show producers. And I enrolled Lisa Sasevich. I sold Lisa Sasevich a full price ticket to come to Celebrity Launchpad. And I guarantee everybody who comes to Celebrity Launchpad, if I accept you in the class, I guarantee you will book yourself on at least 3 TV news and talk show appearances, or you get all your money back. And, things have really evolved since I started doing it, because for me, like, being a celebrity is really what it's all about, not just going on TV. It's really the overall understanding of how to be a celebrity and make money as what I call a celebrity entrepreneur. That's a person who does 5 specific things to position themselves as a celebrity in the eyes of their customers and prospects. And I teach a lot of that at Celebrity Launchpad, and the key to it all is going on TV news and talk shows. Once you start going on TV news and talk shows, that's when you really start accelerating your success with your customers and prospects. That's my story about Jonathan Sprinkles. I hope you all enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed the sunset from Acapulco. And tomorrow night, we'll be doing it all over again right here at 6:30 p.m. from Acapulco. Buenas noches. Good night, everybody.